Lucas was always a dreamer. He grew up in a humble community where resources were scarce, but his desire to achieve something big never left him. From a young age, he watched cars driving through the streets of his town and imagined the day when he could drive his own, a car that would represent not just mobility, but the fulfillment of everything he had worked so hard for. His parents always taught him the importance of hard work, and Lucas took that to heart. He started early as a teenager, doing small jobs to help out at home. With every real he earned, he saved a portion with one goal in mind: his dream car. Over the years, he worked various jobs, from construction helper to clerk at a small grocery store. Many times people underestimated him, doubting that he could achieve something so big. But Lucas didn't let it get to him. He knew the road would be long, filled with challenges, and that, in many moments, he would have to face prejudice due to his humble background. Some people said that people like him would never own a car like that. Even so, he kept going, working tirelessly, overcoming each obstacle with determination. Now, in his early 30s, Lucas had finally saved enough. With each passing day, he felt he was closer to achieving his big dream. He had thoroughly researched the car model he wanted and was ready to make the purchase. It was more than just a material dream. It was proof that all his effort and sacrifice had been worth it. Lucas knew that walking into the dealership to buy the car would be one of the most important moments of his life. Everything he had been through up to that point culminated in this one achievement, and nothing could ruin it, or at least, that's what he thought. It was a sunny morning when Lucas finally made the decision. He had everything planned. The car's price was set aside, the dealership chosen, and even the perfect time for the purchase. The day he had been waiting for had arrived. With his heart racing and a smile on his face, Lucas put on his best outfit, not out of vanity, but because he wanted that moment to be special. He was ready to celebrate the fruit of years of hard work. If you enjoy these stories and life reflections, make sure to subscribe to the channel to receive our reflections firsthand. Don't forget to leave a like and share your thoughts about this story. As he arrived at the dealership, the gleam of the cars shining in the lot filled his eyes with anticipation. Lucas already knew exactly which model he wanted. He had researched every detail, from the engine to the available colors. He felt that finally buying the car would open a new door in his life, one that represented freedom, success, and the end of a long journey of sacrifices. As he walked through the lot, he looked at the cars with a sense of pride. He deserved this. Lucas had worked hard to get here, and he was excited to finally allow himself this reward. He felt that this car would be more than just a vehicle. It would be the physical representation of everything he had achieved. It was as if he was about to take an important step, closing a cycle of struggles and opening a new chapter of victories. With a confident gaze, he stepped into the dealership's showroom, approaching the displayed vehicles. He was ready to speak with a salesperson, prepared to finalize the purchase and take his long-awaited car home. Lucas expected to be treated with the same respect as any other customer. After all, he was about to make a significant purchase. Everything seemed perfect. He walked up to the reception desk, and the first thing he said, with pride in his voice, was, "I'm here to buy the car of my dreams." In that moment, he felt like his goal was just a few steps away. But not everything would be so simple. He looked around, still excited, but soon noticed that some people were watching him in a strange way. At first, he tried to ignore it, focusing on the reason he was there: to make his dream come true. Some of the salespeople were busy with other customers, but a few glanced quickly at Lucas, as if they didn't expect him to be a potential buyer. Even so, he remained calm and continued admiring the cars, walking through the showroom. He was determined to pick the perfect car and wasn't going to let that discomfort ruin his moment. While he was examining the vehicles, he noticed a group of salespeople talking quietly among themselves, glancing his way. Lucas furrowed his brow but took a deep breath. He knew that, even though he was dressed simply, that didn't define who he was or how hard he had worked to get there. When a salesperson finally approached, Lucas had already chosen the car he wanted to buy. He was ready to take the next step and make the transaction, feeling deserving of every part of the process. However, as the salesperson got closer, Lucas noticed something different in his gaze, a mix of disdain and suspicion. The atmosphere, which had been filled with expectation and excitement, now felt strangely tense. But Lucas stood firm, deciding he wouldn't let first impressions shake him. He was there to celebrate his achievement, and a cold reception wouldn't take the shine away from that moment. As the salesperson greeted him, Lucas smiled and extended his hand, certain that, regardless of first impressions, he was about to make history in his own life. The salesperson, however, hesitated for a brief moment before shaking Lucas's hand, as if he were assessing whether he should really give attention to this customer. Lucas brushed it off, believing that things would be fine once they started talking. But unfortunately, this was just the beginning of a series of behaviors that would make Lucas realize not everyone viewed his success in the same way. Lucas introduced himself to the salesperson with a confident smile, ready to close the deal on the car of his dreams. However, the reception was cold. The salesperson looked him up and down with disdain, as if Lucas wasn't worthy of his attention. "Are you sure you can afford this car?" The question came with an arrogant tone. Lucas, surprised, tried to remain calm. The salesperson, without hiding his disbelief, started questioning whether Lucas had the necessary funds, implying that perhaps he was in the wrong place. What should have been a moment of celebration turned into embarrassment. With every word, the discrimination became more evident. Lucas could feel the tension growing, but he chose not to react immediately. Instead, he reflected on the situation, knowing he couldn't let this go unnoticed. The pain of being judged based on his appearance struck deeply, but Lucas was already beginning to think of a way to turn the tables. Lucas left the dealership with a heavy heart, but his head held high. The indignation he felt was mixed with a firm determination. He knew that this situation of discrimination couldn't be ignored. Rather than react impulsively in the moment, Lucas decided that his response would be much bigger than any offensive attitude. As he walked home, he reflected on what he could do. It wasn't just about the car, it was about the respect he deserved. He had worked so hard to achieve his dream, and he wouldn't let anyone diminish him because of his appearance or background. In the following days, Lucas began thinking about how to not only respond to that prejudice, but also make a positive impact. The idea gradually took shape. He would do more than just make a purchase. He would turn that situation into something much bigger. He planned to turn the tables in a way no one would expect, using his resources and connections to change the course of the story. Determined to seek justice, Lucas started mobilizing his contacts. He had friends and acquaintances who respected him for his work ethic and dedication. After talking with one of his contacts in the real estate industry, Lucas learned of a unique opportunity. The dealership where he had been poorly treated was struggling financially and quietly seeking investors. That's when Lucas saw his chance. With a lifetime of savings and a small group of investors, he began the process of acquiring the dealership. He kept everything under wraps, not raising any suspicion until all the pieces were in place. Every step he took toward this plan made Lucas feel like he was transforming his indignation into something greater. It wouldn't just be a response to discrimination, but an action that would show no one should be judged by their appearance. By using his resources and contacts, Lucas knew his victory would come not just in buying a car, but in changing an entire culture. After weeks of discreet negotiations, the contract was finally signed. Lucas, now officially the owner of the dealership, walked into the place with the same confident demeanor as before, but this time with a much greater purpose. Upon arrival, there was no longer any doubt about who he was or what he was about to do. The employees, including the salesperson who had treated him poorly, were called to a surprise meeting. The atmosphere was filled with anticipation, but no one could have imagined what was about to happen. When Lucas was introduced as the new owner, incredulous expressions spread across the room. The shock on the salesperson's face, in particular, was unmistakable. Lucas showed no resentment. His focus was now on transforming that space into an example of respect and inclusion. He explained that under his leadership, service would be based on dignity, and discrimination would no longer have a place there. With that, he ushered in a new era at the dealership where everyone would be treated as equals. As the meeting progressed, the atmosphere became tense. The salesperson who had treated Lucas with disdain now looked visibly uncomfortable. When the moment came, Lucas addressed him directly, maintaining a calm yet firm tone. "Do you remember me?" Lucas asked, looking the attendant in the eye. The salesperson, pale and stuttering, tried to justify his behavior. I didn't know that," he began, but Lucas calmly interrupted. "You didn't know who I was, and you didn't know how hard I worked to be here." The room was silent, and everyone was paying close attention to the exchange. Then, Lucas did something unexpected. Instead of directly reprimanding the salesperson, he used the situation as a lesson for everyone. "Here, respect will be a rule, not an exception. Every customer who walks through these doors will be treated with dignity, regardless of appearance, class, or any other judgment." The salesperson said nothing more, fully aware of the opportunity he was being given. Following the confrontation, Lucas began restructuring the dealership. He brought in new managers and customer service training specialists to ensure that each employee understood the importance of inclusive and respectful service. The first order of business was an intensive training program where everyone would learn to interact with customers empathetically without any superficial judgments. Lucas also made a point of hiring people from diverse backgrounds and experiences, promoting a more diverse and inclusive team. This created a new dynamic in the work environment, and soon the employees began to notice the positive impact of these changes. The dealership became known not only for its quality cars, but also for its culture of respect and equality. Lucas made sure to listen to both his team and his customers, implementing suggestions that improved both the internal environment and customer service. In a short time, the dealership transformed into an example of how prejudice could be overcome through concrete actions. Months had passed since Lucas took over the dealership, and the transformation was evident. The place had become a symbol of inclusion and respect, attracting not only customers, but also admirers who came from afar to experience the new model of service. The old reputation of discrimination had been replaced by praise and recognition. Lucas often reflected on his journey. The dream car he had once desired was now a symbol of something much greater. He had not only fulfilled his personal wish, but also changed the lives of many, proving that appearances do not define a person's worth. What was once a place marked by prejudice now thrived as a welcoming environment. Inspired by the change, Lucas began hosting community events, offering workshops and talks on inclusion and respect. He wanted his story to be a legacy that would inspire others to fight against discrimination. Seeing the motivated team and satisfied customers, Lucas realized that the true victory wasn't just the acquisition of a car, but the creation of a new culture. He smiled at the thought that, although his dream had started as a simple purchase, it had turned into a mission that positively impacted many lives. Lucas's legacy was just beginning, and he was determined to keep making a difference. He faced challenges, overcame prejudice, and transformed his life and the lives of many others around him. His story is a powerful reminder that perseverance and inclusion can create a lasting impact. We would love to hear your thoughts. What inspired you most about Lucas's story? Have you experienced something similar? Leave your comment below and share your reflections. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement is key to helping us continue sharing inspiring and motivational stories. Join us on this journey, and let's spread the message of respect and inclusion together.